Hello, hello. Welcome back to Shift Happens. This is a show where we talk with the people building, breaking, and rebuilding the systems behind the scenes at high growth startups. We love talking about fails and chaos because it is better than any school we've ever been to. I'm your host, Kelly Berdine, and today we are talking with Harjot Bambra. He is the co-founder of Creative Bits AI. Really neat company developing all sorts of custom AI solutions for everything from financial reconciliation to project management to sustainability evaluations. I don't know how they keep it all in their heads. And we're going to talk about sales cycles, challenges in their market, as well as some key differentiators they've landed on for their business and any other fun discoveries that come up in conversation. So let's get to it. Harjot, where are you joining from today?
Yeah. Hey, Kelly, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And that intro, I'm gonna steal it from you for my next pitch. I'm joining you from Long Island, New York.
Great. Are you
Yeah.
guys getting some winter weather up there, ready for the holidays?
Yeah, it's been up and down. Today it's quite rainy. It snowed
Mm.
last week. And
Oh,
so,
wow. Snow already. Okay.
yeah, it's pretty unpredictable. Yes.
I'm in the South. We don't get that very often. And when we do, we freak out and the entire city shuts down. So we're not quite there yet. Well,
I would love to have that here, but yeah.
it's like normal for you guys. Um, well, let's get into it. You have a really interesting background. You came from 20 plus years in hardcore project management. So you spent a lot of time inside of other people's projects. What finally nudged you to say, you know what, I'm going to build my own thing now?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So, if I go back to my college days, I always had that entrepreneurial spirit somewhere lying inside of me. Straight out of college, I started, I had a job, a pretty nice consulting job. But then soon thereafter, I was like, no, this is not for me. So I ended up flying to Kenya to my brother, and we started a startup. He already had a startup. I joined him in 2003.
Hmm.
So that this is before startups were a thing, and in a geography, no one knew about startups. And we had that travel management system because of the tourism industry there. And then thereafter, jumped into when I came to the US. Started while I was having a job. I started the PC repairs, website building, small, attic garage office kind of a thing.
Hmm.
And then it was on and off. But the final push came when I hit a growth ceiling in my last consulting, and I was very impatient at that point in time where I really wanted to do something new. And
Hmm.
the signal was that I was just showing up, finishing a few tasks, and leaving. And that did not
Just no
excite me anymore.
motivation at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I, at the same time, I wanted to be the boss of my own time. I wanted to schedule. By the way, that never happened. I wanted to be able to do that on my own. And so I left my comfy job in my 40s, and never about the money, but it was more about doing something more exciting and uh, uh, kindling curiosity needed to be handled.
Yeah. It's amazing when you go out and you start your own thing after and look, it's not for everybody. It's definitely not. Many people are very, very happy to be, super connected to and involved, with an employer, and that's great. But for those who have that itch and that aren't, uh, did you notice a difference in your energy once you made that decision?
When this decision, well, very exciting. Yeah, for the first few months, of course, it was that stark clarity which came in my mind. It wasn't an impulsive decision. I had been um, talking to my wife for years, and she was like, "Hey, you gotta do it." So there is, there was always that understanding that it won't be easy. Being coming from a very fixed schedule kind of salary or consulting gigs, so that was a major shift that happened in my life, but it was
Yeah.
intentional. It was
Yeah.
well known. but when I jumped into it, yes, there were many learned lessons at that time in the hard way. But being a late starter in my 40s, it did add certain weight to the decision. It was
Yeah.
that realization that, if I don't commit 100% now, then it would be never. So
Yeah,
that was the
exactly.
point. Yeah.
So once you got it started, did you have a moment that made you realize, oh, this is going to be harder than I thought?
Yeah, I could probably write a book on that. Uh, though when I started off, honestly, as a project manager, when I started, and I guess you can totally relate, being that being your background as well, uh, finding project management gigs was not an issue, but building a company was a completely different beast. And the first aha moment was that, hey, I couldn't do it alone, so I had to look for an equal partner, which happened through serendipity. That's another story. But it's the point where I went through my initial network, got a few projects, but it was, I think, the fourth or fifth project
Hmm.
where the struggle really began. So I came to know at that point in time it's not gonna be easy. Um, and the pipeline really has to be always full because it's
Yeah.
just you never know, even after lots and lots of toiling meetings, you might not get the project. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What part of that initial part of building and getting through those first really hard moments surprised you about yourself? Like, did you learn something about yourself?
Yeah, yeah, a lot. It's almost like you go through this self-discovery exercise, right? When you are out on your own. And it happens, I think, twice in someone's life, maybe thrice. One is when you leave your parents' home, go out on your own, and you start learning. But
Yeah.
then there is always that, um, someone you can fall back upon. But uh, leaving a job and moving into business, what I learned really was that um, because of being a project manager for so long, I it was so ingrained into me that delivery mentality
Hmm.
that after working for 20 years of working, on the projects, I was never worried about the flow of things. I was mostly worried about making sure that the machine runs. But
Hmm.
building the machine was not my problem at that point in time. So what I
Yeah.
realized was that my role has to change. Um,
Mm.
and even though I always identify as an extrovert, but I found that I was completely devoid of selling skills. I don't have a sales bent of mine, so and that's still something I'm working on,
Yeah.
bits and pieces every day.
Yeah. It's the struggle is real. But it's
Totally.
just I had a dinner with a friend the other night. She's the consummate saleswoman. That's been her whole career is sales. With me, similar situation, it's like, oh, now I've got to put on a sales hat and I'm not accustomed to that. I can talk with clients all day long and talk about, this and that, but the sales, it just crosses that line into something that feels very different. She just looked at me and she said, you have to do it. Like you can't not. This is not an option anymore. And it was a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow. You're like, you're right. I have to.
Yeah, sometimes you need that push from
Yeah.
someone that you really uh, trust, and
Yeah.
you always have that feeling, but someone needs to push you beyond
Yeah.
that line.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah,
amazing. I think we're capable of much more than we give ourselves credit for. You
I
know?
agree with you. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with you. Yeah, yeah. We just have to come out of our comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, speaking of giving yourself credit for, not giving ourselves enough credit, we're capable of so much. I look at what you do at Creative Bits, and you have, funnily enough, described it as kind of the Best Buy of AI. And you offer so many different solutions, which you admit is risky, from a marketing segment, all that point of view. So when you first said that out loud, did it feel obvious, or did you start to kind of second guess yourself and go, oh, should we rein this back in?
Yeah, actually, it was a it was a journey that led me to thinking about ourselves as the best buy of AI or any departmental store, for example. And the reason is that when we started off, and when I say we, it's my business partner Tarun, and we were in the same school, so we kind of got together. Uh, Both we went our own separate ways in consulting, and when we came back, uh, consulting was so natural to us. But when we started to feel that, hey, we have bootstrapped the business, now it's a time to kind of raise some funds. That's when I realized the technical world is very product oriented. The
Mm-hmm.
investors, the mentors, they want you to be focused on one tool. I was someone I really regard highly. They even told me to give up on my consulting professional services side of it, and that really led me to think about downplaying. In fact, I did downplay my consulting side for a while and considered myself, at least um, for the sake of perception, we pushed
Right.
ourselves as a product company. We do have a couple of products. It's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. Uh, but
Yeah.
uh, but eventually, it just made me realize that all of us, as a company, as a culture in CB Creative Bits AI, we are um, we thrive on in working with multiple clients. We learn so much, and that's when I
Mm-hmm.
fully embrace the idea that we are a professional services company,
Yeah.
along with being a product company. And I, s-
There's
I
also
think,
nothing wrong with that. Like if that's what
yeah,
you do well, yeah.
yeah, it was discovery, and that point in time, Best Buy, Walmart, whoever we can compare ourselves with, it's been we are open to that. Yes.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you have to own it, right? Not everybody is good at that. So, um, I'm curious, what is and we all have this, what is the unsexy work that people don't see that make that model actually function behind the
Yeah,
scenes, day to day?
yeah. You know, uh, we have a we have a an understanding in our company that as a startup or a business owner, we are executives by the day and janitor by night. So we have to wear just about so many different hats. We are HRs, we are accounting, we are actually behind the scenes of our emails. It's us, aliasing ourselves as marketing or sales departments.
Yeah,
That part is the unsexy part, where it's initially exciting and then it gets to too much to do until you get
yeah,
get a good team together.
yeah,
That and just stress of growing the team, keeping them happy, motivated, that takes a toll on you. I think that's the part which is the hardest part um, for me. I mean, it's individual thought process, but yeah, that's hard.
yeah, yeah. And there's just no way, the only way out is through. Unless,
Yes,
$5 million
that's
falls on your table and you're like, great, now we can hire everyone to do this. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Is there something that you're still tweaking and tinkering with that you thought you would have it like quote unquote figured out by now?
Yes. Um, Again, going back to my project management days, I had a vision that once I am in my own business, my day, my calendar would be completely cleanly time boxed, and I would know
Oh,
exactly what I want to do. And that was such a naive thinking, right? I'm like, I it was like a rebirth.
you
So
have to have
time
something
boxing.
to believe in. Come on now.
So and that calendar time boxing, which I had
Yeah,
been preaching for a long time, it hasn't happened yet. Even today, I try clearing my day so that I can focus on certain activities that I would love to, balance out. Um,
yeah,
but then, I came across this book called 4,000 Weeks, Oliver Berkman. He actually explains it very well. That we always think of time um, as a container, and we start keep putting stuff in. Instead, time is water. You just flow with it. So kind of becoming more philosophical about it. So maybe I never will figure it out, but if I can figure out the time boxing stuff, I'll be really happy that day.
yeah. We need, I think as humans, we need that, the comfort of those guardrails or those constraints, not constraints necessarily, but containers. It feels neat and it feels
Yeah.
like it can't get out of control.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
yeah.
about chaos, mastering your time, or just staying away from chaos. Yeah.
Or mastering your chaos, as it were.
Mastering your chaos. Even better. I'll use that.
Yeah. Um, let's kind of like back out and look at your business and how things are actually going. You mentioned when we spoke, before that with the types of markets that you're working with and trying to sell into, sometimes deals fall apart simply because the client team will change mid-cycle. And that's got to be frustrating as heck. So when that happens, what's the most painful? Like, what hurts the most? Is it the time that you put in, the energy, the morale? How do you personally keep that from becoming demoralizing, for you, for the team?
That's such a deep question. And after our last meeting, I thought about it. And we end up, spending so much time and energy after the fact, after the deal falls through. And it's so unproductive. But
Yeah.
if you look at it, if you really do a deep dive, again, this is more individualistic. The most that I feel the hurt for is my empathy towards a client. After spending months with this prospect, you become close to them. You're almost like an advisor in what you know, and
Yeah.
you know that they're going wrong in certain directions, and you kind of give them your piece of your mind share.
Hmm.
The painful thing is that you see them walk away just because they midway they found someone they trust, but in hearts of hearts, I feel like, hey, that you're going to just repeat the same mistakes
Hmm.
because there's going to be the curveballs you're going to come through. This is the way to do this, and there has to be certain conviction to that
Hmm.
feeling. I think that part is the hardest, where I feel the empathy that the client is just going to go, um, with a tsunami of new information and still not be able to make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very generous way to view it. And really, to your point, what's the point in just sitting there being frustrated? It doesn't do anything. It's not going to win you anything. It's not going to make anything different happen. So,
Yeah, I mean, we do have those therapy sessions in the team where the three or
yeah.
four of us, we crib about it, we talk a lot about it for a week,
Yeah.
and then we get busy with the next one. So,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, that's fair. Like we all need, have you ever seen those dolls? It's called a damn it doll.
yeah, yeah,
And everyone on the team needs one, and you just have that moment and you just slam that damn it doll on the
yeah,
desk and then you
exactly.
just get over it and move
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I have a punching bag in my basement. I try doing that.
It's cathartic. So so this happens. I mean, it is what it is, right? You
Yeah,
can't control the world.
nature of
So
business. Yeah,
yeah, I mean the solution which you mentioned earlier on, you talked about is maintaining a full pipeline, or at
yeah.
least that's the goal, to absorb those losses or those extended cycle times, whatever it is. What is like the least glamorous part of maintaining that volume?
Ah, see, the being in professional services again, going back to that point, right? We we meet so many different kinds of clients that the context switching from going from back to back meetings and
Ugh,
still be able to put ourselves in the client's shoes or the prospect's shoes
yeah,
and be able to talk at the same level as a consultant for them is uh, is really hard. Sometimes
yeah.
you mix up things. Sometimes you have to
Oh,
do a prep call. You have to do
yeah,
an internal catch up that, hey, what were we thinking about this
yeah,
3 weeks ago? Going through your notes, going through the AI bots. Thank God for AI bots now.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that piece is something we struggle with. I'll be honest with you, but it is also something that keeps us going with so many
yeah,
different solutions that we come up.
yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, we are human after all, and there's only so many things we can keep stuffed in our tiny little bean-shaped
Right.
heads at one time. So it
Right.
can be exhausting.
Yeah.
Um,
And
when we were talking earlier, again, we talked about some ingredients for success for your business. And one thing you mentioned, which I found interesting, was that you're really big on transparency with your clients, especially through documentation. And I think that's great. I think a lot of clients can appreciate that. I have walked into situations in my past and various scenarios that I've worked in client services where the clients were just so lost and confused from the delivery standpoint of like, what's happening? We haven't gotten an update, blah, blah. And I've usually been called in to kind of fix those situations. What's the trade-off there? Like, what does it cost you internally to really do that well?
oh yeah. Yeah, so this is where it goes to finding the right tools for the job
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it's just humanly impossible to
Yeah.
develop that transparency 100% of the times.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we rely on technology. We have a couple of tools. So I'm big on money.com. DocMost is another open source tool we use. We basically open it up to our clients,
Mm-hmm.
but internally training the team to have that mindset of realizing that empathy part, the trust part, are the two real pillars that we work with. So that's the struggle because every day we have stand-ups, and I still go to my stand-ups most of the times because there's always something where the team starts becoming very transactional, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
bring them back up that, hey, this is a stand-up meeting, not your deep dive. So go back,
Yeah.
think about it from the client point of view, and what do they really need in terms of your next delivery. So that training aspect never finishes, and I'm learning on a daily basis as well. So that imparting of knowledge and maintaining the different time zones at the same time, yeah,
Mm.
it's uh, it's a struggle. But great thing is, last 25 years we've been doing it, so we've
Yeah.
trained well.
It is like more of a natural, rhythm for you at this point. It's not like you're walking into a room full of new, personalities and behavioral things that you've never encountered before.
Well,
So,
not at all. Actually, it's like second life for me because now during my stand-ups, I'm making breakfast for my daughter sometimes. So it's like
yeah.
so part of the conversation, daily
Yeah,
life.
yeah. It's gotta feel good to kind of get to that point, whereas can you imagine yourself as a fresh young 23-year-old walking into a room full of this and just, your face gets all flushed and you don't know how to respond and you don't know how to pull people up out of the ditch and
Yeah,
yet. So yeah,
that
that's a
happens.
good
Yeah,
signal. You've come a long way.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, you talked about this team in Kenya. This is so interesting. I don't think a lot of people have ever considered you know, teams based there becoming kind of a new thing. Tell me about that in terms of how it is a differentiator. Was there anything you got wrong about it the first time you tried to scale that up and what finally kind of made that work for you?
No, yeah, yeah. Very insightful question. So, I've been fortunate to have traveled a lot, um, and I was exposed to Africa, to Kenya in particular, in the early days, and
Hmm.
that kind of always made me very bullish on Kenya as in outsourcing, or I would say a destination for my own team. The reason being the people are very ethical, they speak the language, uh, they are they're hungry for success. So
Yeah.
all of that was really great motivators for me. I did this on and off for about 15 years before having finally like formed my own team, and now we have our development center there.
Hmm.
The yeah, the and the reason I was on and off is also because I was kind of doing multiple things here in with my life, with not being in the business full time. That was one reason, but the other reason was that um, the cultural differences. You ought to know you ought to know where your team is located. What do they really um, what are their beliefs? How do they really operate on a day-to-day basis? What are the
Hmm.
challenges that they face.
Yeah.
Initially, because I had never focused on that aspect, because of just being, torn between job and part-time side gig businesses
You had enough on your plate. Yeah.
at that time. So the moment I realized that, hey, this is an untapped market where the resources not exposed to you know, uh, the big consultings of the world,
Yeah.
the big organizations of the world, or even small ones.
Yeah.
That's when I started to have that expectation set correctly, give them enough
Mm.
training, give them the time, and speak in their language in a way that they understood. And my brother being there in Kenya really helps because he's able to translate. He speaks the local language. It really, really helps. So bringing
Wow.
him
Okay.
in between also was a big differentiator. Yeah, there's a lot of things I can go on for. I think um, that's a topic I'm very passionate about. You know, bringing about transformation in that area, where people are really they are talented. They just don't have
Hmm.
that opportunity to work
They
on.
they have a very different experience from their past, from their day to day. That's something I think a lot of people don't give nearly enough thought to, and can probably cause a lot of, just, gaps and misunderstandings and frustrations and probably even lost deals and partnerships because that gap isn't bridged when it could be, with just some thought and some intention. That's a whole other show we could do.
Truly, yes.
Yeah, I love that. Is your brother still there, by the way?
Yeah,
He is.
yeah, he's there.
Okay. That's
Yes, yes.
fascinating.
Yeah, he's been there. He just wouldn't move. He loves it there.
That's that's really cool. I'm a travel bug too. So again, there's a whole other conversation we can have. Um, let's just we're gonna go down way too many rabbit holes if we keep talking about Kenya at this point. What if there if we were having this conversation again, future you a year from now, what would you hope yeah, what would you hope feels lighter in your business than it does today?
Yeah, I mean, I would think of it from my personal development perspective that it'll because that's my major focus for the next year or so. That sales versus delivery mindset, that conflict needs to come to a rest.
Hmm.
Um, I the so my team structure needs to be much more well formed from that perspective, so that I can finally go back and do my time boxing on my calendar,
Hmm. Yeah.
because and the that's where I want to be in a year, so that my business systems are more uh, lightweight but robust at the same time. Uh,
Yeah.
it's less of reaction, more of just smooth daily operations. That's the thought at this point in time. We've reached the point where it's we need to start setting up those processes. Otherwise, the upcoming next 5 years, it's going to be much more chaos.
Yeah, because it's only going to get more complex, higher volume,
Yeah,
and yeah, you got to get that foundation set.
exactly.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap things up. And I want you to tell our listeners where they can find you and Creative Bits AI in terms of learning about, what you're doing, what you're getting into, what kind of fun you're having.
Yeah, we're doing lots and lots of things. Our website is creativebitsai.com, so you can obviously find us there.
Yeah.
Um, we are pretty active on LinkedIn, so please search for us. Uh, in terms of what we are doing is there is the professional services side of ours keeps us very busy on in four verticals: retail,
Hmm.
then we have fintech, healthcare, and then the rest of the things kind of coming together in the recruitment side. So we have a product on recruitment.
Hmm.
So all of these are almost coming at the point where they can all work in some way or form together.
Yeah.
Um, and we have with the advancement of AI over the last 6 months, the image model, the vision model have become really really advanced. So we are now stepping into that zone where we are playing with the images, not just text. So we are building up a system where you can set up in retail environment. It's called planogram. So um, AI can help you set up the planogram in the right way. So
Wow, that's
that's an
neat.
exciting venture for us.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
And I know that you wanted to put in a good plug for the Global AI Impact Network. Tell us a little bit
yeah,
about that before we wrap.
yes. So yeah, that's GAIN in short. If the AI took us a long time to name that. So over the
Clever.
past over the past few years, what we have noticed is that AI, while it has so much potential, there is a lot of hype around it, and there is a lot of misinformation around it because
Hmm.
the I think we have figured out a way to correctly utilize it in small to medium and even enterprise market,
Hmm.
and we want to now um, have that come out and help out uh, our network. And this could
Hmm.
be people we know, people we don't know. And
Hmm.
that's what prompted there's four of us. That's what prompted the four of us to come together and divide the whole AI, the impact of AI in four different pillars. So we have a quad pillar strategy. Each one of us
Yeah.
is going to be focusing on one of them and uh, help people realize the right way of using AI. That's the intent.
Okay.
Um, the vision is that it's going to be a global network, and hopefully, the frameworks that we produce, the content that we produce, the use cases that we talk about, is going to help the community at large, and gives a talking point for future.
Yeah, I think that's it's perfect timing for that. Is there going to be is there a website or a landing page in development for this?
Yes, come January, we will start putting that together. The name Gain was kind of a recent development because the name we initially started with was not available. So we
Okay.
have our domains and everything coming together. The but the big announcement is going to go out in January sometime.
Okay. All right. Well, we
Yeah.
look forward to hearing that. Well, Harjot, thank you so much. This was a really good conversation, and it's always so fascinating for people to share their experiences of the messiness behind the scenes in a really honest way. All of these startups, they're offering so much innovation and interesting ideas and amazing technology. And it looks really glossy on the outside, and you do great things and you offer great service. And when I say you, I mean the hypothetical
Yeah.
any of us.
Yeah.
But nothing's perfect, and we're still at the end of the day all humans behind the scenes trying to make this work. And so we appreciate you and people like you sharing that experience so that other people don't feel alone in theirs.
Thank you, Kelly, and thanks a lot for putting this together. I think there is a need for lot more learning to happen
Yeah.
by just discussing, having your heartfelt, emotions come out like that.
Yeah, thank you. No, I love doing this. I'm pretty new at this, but I think having these conversations and learning and keeping people connected is really important, because we can get way too in the trenches and lose our bearings. So I'm happy to keep doing this.
Perfect. All the best.
Thank you. You too. We'll talk soon.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.